Okay. Okay. So, it says we are live, and I've got, for some odd reason, there is a bit of a delay on my end. Wow, tech issues. I don't get it. I don't understand any of it, and I'm working on it. So, hopefully, everything is fine, and we're back, and people can now talk to me. Let me move this out of the way a little bit so I can see what people are saying. Lift up you. There we go. All right. So, according to what I'm seeing, everything is working now. Here's hoping. Okay. Let's try that again. This is officially my Twitch stream and podcast together. I'm going to have a little bit of a late start here. Sorry, guys. So what's going to happen today, I'm going to be talking about boundaries in various arenas of your life. Personal boundaries, business boundaries, emotional boundaries, all kinds of boundaries. We're going to talk about that. Boundaries are important, so we're going to deal with that. But I'm going to chat with people as they come in a little bit. I don't know if anybody's going to be in here at this point because I had to stop and start a couple of times, and it's a bit of a cluster stoop this morning. And that's something on my coffee. What do you do when you got something on your coffee? You start your day over. I don't know. So this is the beginning video of my Mind Scrambler podcast, and I am here in the bunker again, and this is my little teeny tiny sound booth that I have set up as a temporary, because we're in what would you say? I guess we'd say we're in a temporary place where we are. But this is where I do all my recordings, and after I'm done with this podcast, I'll be doing some recording as well for some voiceover auditions and things like that I do also in my life. And I found another public domain book that I'm going to make an audio recording of and make those available for purchase. So that's going to be cool. That's my third one. It's a longer one, but it's really impressive, and I really like it. So I'm looking forward to reading it again. Because right now I've already got The Science of Getting Rich, As a Man Thinketh, and this will be The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. That will be available because they're in public domain. That means I can record them and sell them, and they're my copies. And since it's an audiobook and I'm a voice actor, then yeah, cool. It's going to work. It's going to be an excellent deal. And that way you can listen to it when you're doing stuff. Jimmy Ricardo, how are you, sir? It's saying that my internet is excellent right now, and yet I'm stopping and starting. I don't know what's going on. That's driving me a little bit batty, guys. I really wish I had some technical something or other that could get me there. But hey, Jimmy, can you hear me? I think that's the question. Even if I'm frozen, you can hear me. I know they're saying it's rubber banding, I guess is what it's called. But as long as you can hear me, that's cool. That's the main point. As long as it's recording the audio, that's what's important. I know some people want to watch the video, which right now I'm just throwing it up on YouTube just to have it, and people can watch if they want, just play it in the background and just listen to the sound, because I haven't pulled the audio yet for the actual podcast, because I don't know how yet. I'm working on that. Loud and clear? Excellent. Then that's going to be, that's what's happening. I've got, I think 4 or 5 episodes. I'm working on the intros, outros, the art, and all that stuff. Just the basic crap that you got to have for a podcast. And then I'm going to put it out there, make it happen. And that way you guys can listen. And I've been telling people, lately, I've been saying, hey, look, this is my goal, and I want to share it with everybody. My goal is to be the go-to guy for personal growth, self-help in the animation, video game, and anime community. I don't know what you'd call that community overall. The gaming community, maybe. I'm really not sure what it is because it encompasses everything. I mean, I've done animation, I've done video games, I've done anime, so I don't really know. All help is appreciated, and cool. So let's see. I'm wondering. I'm gonna try something interesting here. I don't know if this is going to work at all. I tried this when we were over in Catalina, but I guess with the bandwidth that we have, it could be a little rough. But it doesn't really matter because I have, I got my cell phone here. I'm thinking about doing a little simulcast with Unlocked because it's saying that it works, that it's working here. Let's see if I can get that here, and then I'll go ahead and do that too. Let's see what we can do. I'll have it going both places, and I can chat with everybody. So, all right. So here we go. I am now. I've got Unlocked going over here. I've got Twitch going over here. So all of you cats are going to be listening to my Mind Scrambler podcast. How about that? We got Otaku Girl. Hello, hello. And over here we've got Jimmy Ricardo. Some more people popping in and out. I saw that. And I'm definitely on a... what do we got here? I'm definitely on a delay on Twitch anyway. So it's usually about a 7-second delay. So I've got to kind of watch what I'm doing there. Ashley, how are you? I apologize. It's a little blurry here, but that's okay because I'm in my booth and everybody's here. I am about to do my podcast, so I'm inviting all you guys to watch the podcast today. You are behind the scenes. I am on Twitch right now, live, and it is if you haven't gone to Twitch yet and follow me, it's Spike Spencer Speaks. And yes, I did survive Deckyzilla. Now, for those of you that are watching on Unlocked, please do me a favor. You're going to be my moderators for new people that are asking questions. Because what I do is, in about 5 minutes or so, I'm going to go into my podcast. When I go into my podcast, I can't answer anything. I do 30 minutes straight for my podcast, roughly. And I don't answer questions or anything. But if you have questions about my subject, then ask them after. So if somebody's like, hey, why isn't he talking to us? It's like, well, because he's talking. He's doing his podcast. I'm just inviting you guys on. I'd love to have you guys be on Twitch and follow me there. But I figured, let's try this today. What do you think? We did this in Catalina with Kim. Who we got here? Jamie, how are you? I am extraordinary, everybody. Thank you for asking. I'm having a fabulous day. I'm a little under the weather. So actually, I sound a little sexier than normal. But, that's... Maybe I'll do the whole podcast in this voice today. How's everybody doing? Let's talk about boundaries. That's part of my podcast, guys. This is one of the reasons why I've been telling people for years, well, what do you do? It's like, I talk goofy for a living. Seriously. Because when I'm speaking publicly, and actually I've got a meeting today about possibly speaking at an event where Johnny Depp will be. Maybe. We'll see. I don't know. But there's a lot of people. That's this person that I'm going to be talking to actually got me on. I was able to speak on stage with Les Brown and Colin Farrell and Kevin, one of the Shark Tank, Kevin Harrington, I think. It all escapes me right now. I do apologize if I'm going to be coughing and snorting a little bit. Like I said, I'm a little under the weather, and it's this thing has been going back and forth. And a lot of you guys have probably had it too. I mean, I know so many people out here in LA have had it, and you missed my foodie stream. That's okay. I'm working on getting more of those. Once I get all of the technical stuff, hey, Chrissy, fabulous day here. You are now going to be listening to my podcast if you like. I'm going to start that up in about a minute or two. But yeah, so I just want to let everybody know, what's going on, and the whole premise behind my podcast is that I have I have been, for those of you guys who don't know, I'm a coach. I've been a coach for over 14 years in dating and relationships, utilizing my "Don't Kill Your Date" and other cooking tips at panels internationally. So I've been delivering my message in front of thousands internationally for years, and that was on the dating and relationship side. Then I got certified with neurolinguistic programming. I'm a coach for that. I'm going for my master prac hopefully this year. And that is a lot of real internal subconscious programming stuff that is really quite amazing. And my wife is as well. We're both bank certified personality sales trainers. We're certified. We don't really actively do it that much, but I use it in relationships because it's absolutely phenomenal. So we're both certified there. And she's also a certified high performance coach, and a damn good one. And she's going to be with Tony Robbins next week. So we got some certifieds, babies. We got some certifieds. So the stuff that I'm going to tell you comes not only from training that I have and undergone and that I know, it also comes from my life experiences. And I'll tell you a little bit about that in my podcast. But I'm going to get started here. Let's see. In Australia, things have been bad due to the brush fires. Jamie, I am sorry about that brush fires. I've been to Australia 7 times, and I love Australia. I've driven all through. From all the way down from Adelaide over to Melbourne to Canberra to Sydney up to Brisbane. I've driven all through there, and it is stunningly gorgeous, and I think it's a tragedy. It's awful, guys, and so our heart goes out to you. Now, we do know a little bit about brush fires in California, so just throw it out there. So we're like, we got you. We feel you, yo. All right, everybody. So thank you guys so much for coming in. Let's get started. I'm going to clap 3 times so that I have a video reference. Those of you guys in the business understand that's why they do the slate thing. And I'm going to go for about 30 minutes. I'm going to talk about boundaries today. And then if you have any questions, feel free, fire them up. I will look afterwards. I'll spend about another 15 minutes just chatting with you cats. And there we go. So let's clear everything out. Let me get some water in me. Oh, good. Water's so good. I was supposed to drink a whole bunch of water this morning when I got up and I forgot. But I do have coffee, so, that's good. All right. I think that was a fairly good Nicolas Cage impression I just did. Y'all with me? Okay. All right, let's have some fun. We're going to talk about boundaries. Here we go. Podcast begins. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Mind Scrambler podcast. My name is Spike Spencer. I am your host and inventor and creator of the Mind Scrambler podcast. We're going to talk today about boundaries. And for those of you that are new to the show, I am a certified NLP coach. I am a certified bank code trainer. I have spoken in front of thousands on dating and relationships over about 14 years. And I know a thing or 3 because I've put all these things into practice. And boundaries are very specifically interesting to me because it is a chapter in my book, Food Game, A Man's Ultimate Recipe for Dating Success, which is not just a pickup book. It is actually a male transformation book. And one of the tenets of Food Game, which started out as "Don't Kill Your Date" and other cooking tips, is boundaries. And boundaries are important for all of us. For many, many different reasons. Now, I'm going to go over several different parts of what boundaries are. But when you think of boundaries, what do you think of? Most people think of walls, fences, boundaries. And they think of it as keeping somebody out, keeping somebody away from you, protecting you. Well, that is actually true. And it's a very, very powerful and strong thing for you to have. I know people say, build bridges, don't build walls, et cetera, et cetera. Well, here's the thing. On your emotional states in your life, if you don't have boundaries, you don't have an emotional life. You have a swaying in the wind sort of thing. And that's when you see people that get walked on and pushed over, and people who get hurt in relationships over and over again because it just doesn't seem like they have the security or the confidence to be able to keep somebody from hurting them. We all know somebody like that who's been hurt over and over again. You're like, wow, Do you have no standards? Do you have no, you're such a pushover? That's because of boundaries, the lack of boundaries. And what I'm going to talk about today is it's not just about building walls around you, around your heart, around your mind, around your soul, but it's also building a strengthened wall around you that has a drawbridge. So now you control it. You can open that drawbridge, and you can let anybody in you want. And if you don't want to let them in, you just shut the drawbridge. And you go, no. And let me explain how that works. So let's say, let me give you an example. Well, you know what? I'll tell you this and then I'll go to the example. Let's say that you're in a relationship and you know with this relationship that there are certain things you will accept, certain things you will not accept. With these things that you will accept, everything is fine. The things that you will not accept, there has to be consequences or there are no walls. So if you accept something, everything is fine, drawbridge is open. You say, no, I'm not going to accept that. You shut that drawbridge. Now, for example, in order to shut that drawbridge, what does that look like? What does shutting a drawbridge look like? Prime example. So from my own life, some of you already know my story, but for those of you that don't, I'm going to tell you a little bit about my background and what got me started in all of this. So I was married prior to my marriage now. So my first marriage, deeply in love, 13-year relationship. And everything was going well. Had, big house, money, had many properties, 3 dogs, beautiful wife. I mean, everything looked good. I was in films. I was doing real estate investment. Everything was good except my connection and communication with my first wife was not there. And it did not work out. She decided to have an affair with my best friend. And they've been married for, 13 years now, 14. And they've got a kid. Good for them. But the point was that I took full responsibility of that after drinking a lot and screaming and crying at God and why you, and that's a whole different podcast talking about cause and effect. I actually went over that in one of my previous podcasts a few back, so check that out. But the point I'm getting at is what I did. Now, my first wife knew. I said, look, we will make this work no matter what. But you touch another human being, you touch another man, in that way, you have an affair, you do anything with another guy, we're done. That's it. It's over. And once I found out, and I caught him, so it's like, woo, not in jail. So once I found him, I literally the next day, I sold my wedding ring, filed for divorce, and got a tattoo on my back in Gaelic that says never give up. It's not to be a stigubra. And I said, you know what? That's how I'm rolling, because that was my boundary. If you do A, then I'm going to do B. That's it. You do A, I'm going to do B. There has to be a consequence, and that was my consequence. There was no saving after that. I mean, it's, some people say, well, maybe if you tried to, no, it wasn't going to happen. But in your relationships, have you found something like that to happen? Somebody does something to you and you keep letting them do that. It's like drawing a line in the sand. Don't cross this line in the sand. They cross the line. Well, then don't cross this line then. And then they cross that line. You're like, well, if you cross this line, then there's going to be, and then they cross that line and you don't do anything. They keep crossing the line. You have no boundaries. If A, then B. So you have to be crystal clear with that. Now, fast forward to my relationship now. Kim and I actually are doing a couples workshop in February here in Burbank. And we have a very solid relationship, and we don't take it for granted like it's always going to be there. She has boundaries, I have boundaries. And I know what her boundaries are. She knows what my boundaries are. And she knew, we talked about boundaries, I think, the first night we met. I was like, oh, yeah, if you do this, it's over. That's done. And she knows it. She knows that. She knows that I will do that. I've got proof. It's on my back. So But you have to let somebody know your boundaries. If you have boundaries and you expect somebody to know your boundaries and then they break that boundary, well, they didn't know. So therefore, the drawbridge was open. They came in. Hey, what's happening? They're thinking it's all fine. You didn't have the drawbridge closed for that particular whatever boundary it was. You could have many, 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 many boundaries. But for whatever boundary it is, drawbridge is open or closed, and that's totally up to you. If that drawbridge is open and they cross it and they don't know that they're not supposed to cross it, you can't really enforce a boundary because no boundary was stated. So at that point in time, if they screw up, in your mind, they screwed up. In their mind, they're like, I didn't know. So that's the point where you have to let them know about your boundaries. You say, okay, this is what I will accept. This is what I will not accept. And here's the hard part, guys. This talks to personal insecurity. This talks to self-confidence and self-worth. And a lot of us have far less than we should have. If somebody breaks your boundary, it will be probably one of the hardest things you've ever done in your life, will be to enforce the boundary. Sometimes that means saying goodbye to a relationship. Sometimes that means having a very uncomfortable conversation. And the uncomfortable conversations need to be had as fast as possible. That gives you the least uncomfortableness. You know what I'm saying? That's a whole other podcast. I mean, if you think about it, if you let something fester and then you rip the Band-Aid off, it hurts a whole lot worse than if the Band-Aid was just put on. Okay? But when somebody does something, you have to let them know that is not acceptable. I said if you did A, I'm going to do B. You did A, therefore I'm doing B. Whatever that is. So you have to figure that out for yourself. So Kim and I know that. We've talked about that. It's like, no, you're not going to do this. You're not going to hold me back. You're not going to, mess with my business, or you're not going to mess with somebody else. If I'm doing a scene in a movie and I have to kiss somebody, is that okay? I'm like, it's your job. It's what we do as actors. And when we were acting, we're not doing that really anymore. But that's the point. You have to have the conversation. You have to know what the other person will allow or won't allow. In my dating trainings and study, there was one really, really good analogy, or would it be more of a metaphor? No, it was just, I guess it's just a story. This guy was counseling a man and a woman, and the man kept saying, she just keeps pushing me. She just keeps pushing me. Well, side note, guys, women will test you, and it will seem like they're pushing you, and they are, and that's fine. It's natural. It's not a big deal, unless they're physically pushing you into fire. That's bad. But when they're pushing you, what they're doing is they're testing your boundaries. They want to know. They want to know what your boundaries are. And men, I'm sure men do that too, but I do know that women do that. It's not a sexist thing. It's just we are who we are. And the guy kept saying, she kept pushing me. And the woman looked at him and she said, how do I know if you can't stand up to me, then how will you stand up for me? Let me say that again. She said, if you can't stand up to me, then how are you going to stand up for me? She was testing to see if he was protective, if he was, a strong candidate to be her boyfriend, husband, lover, whatever it is. You have to know these things. You can ask somebody and they'll tell you, oh yeah, no, I'm great. I'm great in a firefight. And the first shot rings out and they're like, ah! That's not exactly good. So you have to know that you've got your person there. So know their boundaries, know your boundaries. And I think that's a key thing is knowing each other's boundaries. Have that conversation about boundaries. Now, this is not just about boundaries for, physical acts, things that somebody does. If somebody does something that breaks your boundaries, it can be done in teeny, tiny little increments as well. Now think about this. Like I said, you could have boundaries around your physical person, like your house. Excuse me. You can have boundaries around your heart. Boundaries around your mind, your soul, your emotions, etc. And one boundary that is very, very important for everyone to have is a boundary around their positive and negative. Because let me explain a little bit about your subconscious mind. And I go into this a lot. I've gone into this in previous podcasts. And I've recommended other podcasts that really people far more sophisticated and trained than I am. But I can explain the basics very, very well. Your subconscious mind is simply a recording instrument. It records everything from birth and even prior to birth, believe it or not. It's all in your mind. Our minds are supercomputers. You know, as one of my, I could say mentors, coaches, I listen to his podcast religiously and I'm taking some of his training, Jim Fortin, he says, we are cosmic beings and we are here. Why are we here? This can get very, very esoteric and what some would say woo-woo very quickly, but science is really starting to verify the woo-woo. But your subconscious mind is recording everything. And your subconscious mind, what you listen to becomes you, becomes your habits and how you act and react in your life. So you need to have boundaries around your emotional well-being and your mind. If you are surrounded by people that are negative, then that is going to take its toll on you. If you are surrounded by negative noise, negative chatter, monkey chatter, it's the monkey brain, the ba 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 ba. That chatter is going to mess with you. And what causes most of that chatter is news, radio, and just the vapidness of it all. It's really, really ridiculous. Once you get away from it for a while, you'll see a change. I haven't watched news or listened to the radio in years. So, I mean, I'll turn on the radio, listen to a little bit of music, and if I hear news, I'm like, what's going on? I'm like, oh, sounds just like in the 70s. Sounds like in the 80s. Sounds like in the 90s. Sounds like in 2000. It's all the same. Nothing has changed. It's just the players. And it's all negative, negative, negative. So you need to have a boundary around your mind, your subconscious, and it has to be strong, and you have to allow that drawbridge to be shut up tight unless you let it go. Because other people around you, their negativity will seep in. And sadly, sometimes that's family members. And you have to be able to say, okay, I have a boundary now, and here's what I want to say. And we've done this with our family. See, in the morning, first thing in the morning, for example, when we come downstairs, we want to have positive mind flow in the morning. So I will read some positive mind books. I will listen to a positive podcast, something that starts my day off with positive mind feed. And some people start the day off whipping out their phone and they start boom, 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 and that's the worst thing you can possibly do. Or they have the radio blasting, today 5 people killed in the blah, 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 blah. It's like, that's a horrible way to start your day. Start your day on your terms, your boundaries. You say, this is what I'm going to accept, and this is what I am not going to accept. And if I say I'm not going to accept that, I'm not going to accept that. Hear me on that. And you have to let other people know. Remember, I said, if your drawbridge is open, anybody comes on in, let other people know around you and say, well, I'm choosing to not listen to this negativity in the morning. And if you stop in the morning for a little while, you start going, you know what? I'm going to go the whole day without it because I feel a lot better not listening to all this horrible crap. And let people know. And when I said, for example, when we come down in the morning, like Kim's mom is already on full bore. She's already going. And she is the type of person that sees the problem in every opportunity. She can see a problem in God coming back. It doesn't matter. It's like, hey, everything's great. Everything's going to be fine. It's like, yeah, but whatever. It's just there. So you can say anything and it goes to the negative for her. And it's not that she's a negative person, but it's like, you always want to have somebody, for example, in business who is that person because they can spot the problems. If you've got 5 people on your staff, you're working on a business, like, okay, what's going to happen? We're all going to go great. And then the other person's going, yeah, but I see a problem here, and here. And nobody else saw it. And you go, okay, let's listen to that. And you go, blah, blah, blah. And you find out there is a problem and you got to fix it. Great. That's very helpful in the right context. But every day that you come down and the first thing you hear is, oh, we got this problem here, we got this problem here, this problem here. All you come down and suddenly it's just problem. It's immediate dive. You don't want that. You want your brain in the morning has to start up. It has to get going. Everything has to get going because you've basically fasted for 8 hours, let's say, maybe 10, and you're starting the day. So you want to feed your body, you want to get water, you want to hydrate, you want to eat some good food. I'm woefully bad at that. Sorry, guys. I can preach it, but I'm like, you know what? Do as I say, not as I do at this point, man, because I'm trying to get off the coffee, but, you know, I'm working on the first thing in the morning, come down and get something like prebiotic or probiotic in me. Something that will get me going. But the point is, that's when your body sets the tone for the day. So if you start your day out on a positive note or a positive mental attitude, like you start off with a really good meditation or a really good podcast, like the Mind Scrambler podcast, and you listen for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever it is, and then you're like, okay, I've set my course for the day for some positivity. You know, so then something comes at you, you go, whoa, 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 boom. That's my boundary. I'm not listening to that. I don't have to give my emotional power to that. And I don't want to. I don't have to. You know why? It's my life. Boundary. Drawbridge. Whoof, no thank you. Not going to happen. So you might hear Declan in the other room here. It's totally fine because I got a baby boy. You want to talk about pushing boundaries. That boy. Hey. My son is so funny. It's so cute. He is really good at following rules, and he's really good at testing those rules. So he, when he was, I think he was like 1, maybe even before, and he was crawling around, and we'd set him down on the rug in the dining room area, and he would crawl over to the kitchen. Well, he knew there was a little boundary in the kitchen. That was a boundary. Like, you don't cross that. He crossed it a couple times. We go, no, you don't do that. No, you don't do that. And then finally it got to the point where it was like going, you don't do that. You know that. And he started to figure it out. And we'd put him in, time, so going in your crib, and put him in his crib and everything. And finally, so he'd come down and he would stop. And he would literally stop at that line. He knew it. He was really good about it. And if something was over that line, he would cry and let us know that, the ball rolled across or whatever. So he was really, really good. But early on, he was like, okay, let's see. He would go right up to that edge of that line, and he would just put his hand over and go, poof, just across the line. Cutest thing ever. But, as a dad, I'm like, I really just wanted to laugh, but it was a boundary. He crossed it. I said, crib, boom. So he knew it. And his personality, by the way, if you know, when you learn, you'll learn from me the bank code and personality sales stuff. He's a nurturing blueprint. He's got a very high blueprint, and a blueprint needs structure. Now, I'll talk about this in relationships sometime in the near future on my podcast, because the relationships are incredibly powerful in the personality sales training. And we know that with the blueprint, they've got to have that structure. And if you're dating somebody who's a blueprint, they have to have structure. And the lack of structure destroys relationships. It's amazing how this works. So us giving him those boundaries is actually showing him love. And, the punishment is go in the crib. Or we've got a little shower, an open shower that is like the timeout room. So we open the thing, and we put him in there, he's crying, we shut it, and then we go, we give him 2 minutes, and then we come in, and he's just standing there going, hey. I'm like, wow, that sure was a really good boundary, responsibility that we gave you. But anyway, so that's the point. So children will test boundaries. People in relationships will test boundaries. Businesses, they will test boundaries all the time. And you know who else tests boundaries? Velociraptors. Did you see Jurassic Park? They're testing the fence for weaknesses. People do that. We all do that. We test things for weakness. If you're doing it from a place of strength and confidence, you're testing it so you can make it better. If you're doing it from a place of manipulation and narcissism and all that sort of thing, you're doing it from a place of trying to find a way in to manipulate. And that's not what I teach, and that's not right. What you need to do is make sure your boundaries are strong and that there is a, what's the word I'm looking for here? If you do something, there's going to be a consequence. If A, then B. Remember that. So let's go over it a little again here. I'm going to be coming up on my time here in just a minute, but I wanted to say So your physical boundaries. Obviously, physical boundaries, your home, you lock the doors, right? No, we leave them open all night. No, you don't. Of course you don't. So think about that. You go to sleep, and this is the place where you are the most vulnerable, is when you are asleep. What do? You lock your doors. You shut the windows, or maybe you open the windows, whatever. But you make sure that you're safe as you can be, and then you move forward and go ahead and go to sleep because you feel safe. Why? Your boundaries are strong. Your boundaries are tight. Same thing with your boundaries in your life, in your emotions, in your brain, in your negative thinking, etc., positive thinking, all of that. Have boundaries that you can enforce. You are the keeper of the boundary. You open the drawbridge. You close the drawbridge. And make sure that those around you know. So think about it this way in your mind. You have a castle. It can be the castle around your heart. It can be a castle around your brain. It can be a castle around, your emotional well-being, whatever it is. It's a castle. High walls, nice little windows. You can see everything. If somebody is negative, or there's some negative problem or something going on, somebody's coming up to the drawbridge, you can shut that drawbridge. You keep the drawbridge up and let everybody know with signage all over the castle, this is a no-no. Whatever this is, no, 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 no. That's it. As long as you're cool with that, drawbridge open. Come on in. You can hang out and talk to me. We can all have a good time. The minute you cross that drawbridge and do something bad, boom, it is time for consequence. We're going to throw you in the moat with the crocodiles. That's it. That's how it goes. I just use that metaphor because people will understand that. If somebody is coming to you with negativity, then you have to let them know, walls, drawbridge, I will open the drawbridge, but if you're negative, drawbridge closed. Cool? Cool. Have you seen those, that meme where a guy's walking along and the word negativity comes up? He's like, whap, anger, whap, and it just goes away. Well, that's it. That's a boundary. You say, I'm not letting you in my boundary. This is a happy boundary. This is a fun boundary. And when you come in and infect inside my boundary, suddenly this area inside my boundary is no longer happy. It is no longer strong. It is no longer confident. Now it is insecure, and it is scared, and it is sad. So you need to make sure that those boundaries hold the happy, and it's all good. And anybody that's coming in, they're not going to get in that boundary because it's not going to work because it's a happy boundary. Now, if you want to be cool and play by my rules, drawbridge open, come on in. Let's have a great time. So that's kind of the idea for the physical boundaries. Know other people's physical boundaries and respect them. And if you don't know them, ask them. Ask them what they will accept and what they won't accept. You need to know. You say, hey, so we're in a committed relationship, right? What does committed mean to you? Ask it. And they say, well, it's all great and everything, and if I'm traveling and maybe I have a fling or whatever. What? I'm sorry, what was that now? If you're not cool with that, then you'd be like, no, that's not going to happen. It's like, oh, yeah, well, see, that's what I thought when I said committed. I thought that's what you meant. It's like, no, here's my boundaries. Here's your boundaries. Apparently, your wall ain't finished yet, but mine is. So, bye. Whatever. But most people go into a relationship, they don't know the boundaries. They don't know their boundaries, and they don't know the other person's boundaries. If you don't know your boundaries, then you're in trouble, number one. So what I recommend to everybody, my takeaway here today, is learn what your boundaries are. You can write this on a piece of paper. I'll have you do this all the time. It's real simple because you can write on a piece of paper, you can put it on your computer, whatever. Make a list. This is what I will accept in my life, or what I expect in my life. This is what I want. And over here, you say, this is what I don't want. These are the things that I will not expect. I will not take. If somebody disrespects me, boom, no. If somebody cheats on me, boom, no. If somebody lies to me, boom, no. Whatever it is. Depending on your boundaries, it'll be different. Everybody's boundaries are going to be different. That is fine. That is expected. We're all human beings. We're all different. We all have our own path. We all have our own past, our own future, our own everything. Everybody has their own boundaries, so you have to respect that. So try to find out what theirs is. What theirs is. Grammar doesn't matter here. I make up words all the time. That's superdiferous. All right, so the conversation that you have is ask somebody. If you're in a relationship right now and you're not sure what's going on, if you're like, gosh, I don't know what it is, it might be boundaries. Ask. Say, hey, am I crossing any boundaries here that I don't even know? Because a lot of times it's teeny tiny boundaries can really, really add up. And when you crisscross on somebody's boundaries, it could be a really bad thing, and you don't even know it because you don't know the boundaries. For example, very simple, dishes. Dishes have ruined more relationships than anything else besides money. I'm just going to tell you right now. Did you do the dishes? Well, yeah. Did you wipe your dishes off and then put it in the sink, or did you put it in the dishwasher? Or, this one, you can't put this in the dishwasher because of that. And then it's like, I'm doing the dishes all the time. No, I do them all the time. No, I do them all the time. And everybody thinks they're right. Something like that, have a boundary and say, okay, let's sit down. Let's all agree on what the boundaries are. And let's hold each other to it. And if some reason that boundary is crossed a little bit, maybe it's a little something, a little tweak, go, hey, mea culpa, my bad. Okay, no big deal. It's not a huge boundary. This isn't like a huge boundary wall. This is more like a light little, like a cattle fence. But the idea is it still can get annoying. It can get really annoying. And fights will be caused because of freaking dishes. Because those dishes stand in for something bigger. So once you figure out what those boundaries are together as a couple or as friends or as, if you're living with people, if you've got roommates, man, you need those boundaries, people. Whew. Wow. It's hard. And you have roommates, you'll find people have no boundaries and they don't care about your boundaries. So you'll learn a lot that way. All right, so I'm going to wrap it up here in just a minute, but I wanted to say, why do I keep saying that? See, I'm learning every day. Don't use but, use and. Because but negates everything that came before it. I love you, but, ooh, zowie. So, and I want to leave you all with the understanding that you have the power to control your boundaries. You have the power to find out other people's boundaries. You have the power to open that drawbridge and shut that drawbridge. Most of you have walls that are not enclosed yet, and so people are getting in, and you don't know where they are. So you have to explore your boundaries, and you have to do the scary things. You have to have that scary conversation that says, look, you keep doing A, and I say that I'm going to do B. I'm scared to do B. But one day, I'm going to do B. And that one day is now. Time for you to stand up for yourself. If A, then B. That's your boundary. And you'll see, people respect you. You only get what you allow. People only treat you the way you allow them to treat you. And that's important to know. And that comes down to your boundaries. And the strong boundaries that you are in control of gives you confidence, safety, and security. There you go, everybody. That is the Mind Scrambler podcast for the day. I am your host, Spike Spencer, and I hope you got a lot out of this, and I look forward to seeing you on the next podcast as soon as humanly possible, and go out there, have an amazing day, do amazing things, and be, amazing. See you next time. There you go, folks. That was the podcast. All right, let me go over here and see what people said on Twitch there. Old school gamer, yes. Ricardo, been known to crash with my front door open. Haha. Do live in an apartment with about 3 other doors to get through first, so if they get in my balcony, they're going to get in anyway. Well, then that's why you have a baseball bat. Or if you're in Texas, a sidearm. My mom is so stunned. I thought I opened the front door late at night, but I was just closing the room door. She was unexpectedly rude as hell. Well, that's scary. Back door is always vulnerable. Yep. Let's see. Had to set some major boundaries with mother when I moved out. She didn't like it when I did what I'd been telling her, which was she came over picking fights, just kick her out. Now she's realized I'm not going to put up with crap. Exactly. Jimmy, see, that's the thing. When you set the boundaries, now people know how to treat you. And that's important because they will respect you. They're testing you. People will only treat you how you allow them to treat you. So let me go over here and talk to my folks on Unlocked. Hello, folky folks. Wow, you guys are chit-chatting and all that stuff. All right, wonderful. I'm looking forward to you guys love watching my new YouTube videos. Excellent, Ashley. Thank you so much. Yes, I survived Deckizilla. Oh, for those of you that don't know, my son comes on. You've seen it. If you've been on Twitch and you've seen the foodie, my Sunday night stream, we put Declan to bed around 7:30. So we're giving him a bath around 7 or so. So about 7:10, 7:15, he comes out and he's got this little towel. It's got a little dragon head on it, and he puts that on. We dry him up, and he runs around just naked with this thing. He's going just scaring everybody, and we all run and scream, and it's hysterical. And you can hear he's got my lungs. That boy, I'm gonna get him in the booth as soon as possible. I'm just saying. All right, so we got Chrissy again, Otaku Girl, and somebody. Yep. True. Glad your new family is better. My new family is phenomenal, guys. Let me give you a little hint. For the gentlemen out there, and for the ladies too, I know a little bit about relationships, and I know a little bit how to treat a lady. I've been featured on many podcasts that were women-centric. So they're asking me questions like, well, when I do this, what is the guy thinking? And I'm going to tell you. I'll let you know. And I have a lot of it on my, I think on my website, I have a couple of those podcasts. Or if you go on my LinkedIn, I think I have links on to several of my podcasts there as well. I'm revamping everything. I'm figuring out. It's just like my brain is all over. But the one thing I want to tell you is it took me 7 years to find Kim after I moved out to LA. So I lost everything, literally everything, and moved out to LA knowing 4 people. I had to start over from scratch. For about 2 years, it was just really ugly. But I still dated some lovely, amazing women. And I dated a lot of women over that 7 years. Many, actually. And it's not like a brag. It's just that's what I did. And because I was studying, I was doing field research. And I'm not saying I was just like out there hooking up every night. No, I would date. They would come over for dinner. Food game. That's how I dated. It's in the book, guys. It's in the book. It freaking works like a charm. But I'd have women over and we'd talk, and I had no expectation. That's like my first chapter. Have no expectation. So we would sit there and we'd talk and have a good time. Didn't matter if anything happened or not. We talked, had fun, et cetera, et cetera. And if anything happened, great. Woo! We all had a good time. But my point is, by doing that and doing the work and listening and learning and talking and finding who I needed to be and building my boundaries and just all the work that I've done, I found Kim. And when I found Kim, we was just perfect. From that first night, we were just like, this is interesting. And guys, here's the thing. She is amazing. And I'm going to brag for a second, okay? So if you want to talk about dating, if I know anything, I'm 51 years old, guys. She's 42. I'm sorry, she's 32. She's 19 years younger than me. She was a Miss California contestant. She was a Pilates instructor. She is a produced screenwriter. She is a high-performance coach. She's run her own business. She's amazing. She's just freaking incredibly amazing. And she's my wife, and I love her dearly and deeply. And she loves me dearly and deeply. And we have an amazing son. So a lot of you guys know that. This is coming off of the worst breakup I could possibly imagine. It was literally my worst fear. Happened. All came true. And so through that time and all the training and studying and working that I've done on inside, I had to do a lot of work on the inside, guys. A lot. And that's where I learned all of this. And that's where I learned, wow, I want to dive in deeper to the NLP. I want to dive in deeper to the bank stuff. I want to dive in deeper to high performance. I want to dive in deeper to the subconscious and some of the deeper quantum things. And so that's what I'm bringing to you guys. I'm bringing you all my study. I'm bringing you a lot of information. I have so much of it. And when you come to see me live at a convention somewhere or at a speaking event and you listen to me there, I'm going to go even deeper. So that's what I'm saying to you guys now. It's like, I got the proof. And this is what I'm talking about. The new family is way better. Yes, because it's stronger. And we have those uncomfortable conversations quickly. So let's go over here. Better wife, awesome son. Yeah, baby's so cute. Some things can be forgiven, some things no. Absolutely. And you go over that in your boundaries, guys. Say, this is possibly, I can be forgiven, but this is like the outer fence. This is like the cattle fence. Don't, if you jump over that, I might let you do that a couple times. Then I'm going to build that wall up, and I'm going to say stop. But just kind of keep careful with that. That's deep. Thank you. I just woke up. Hey, Candy Cosplay. Glad you're here. Ready for a Vic stream tonight? Okay. Taco girl and toxic and negative people will always try to mess with you. They will affect. That's right. They do. Who doesn't love coffee? I really gotta stop drinking so much coffee. But, well, actually, I only drink like 2 cups now. When I was bartending, I would drink like an entire pot, during the day, because I'd have a day shift and nobody was there for like an hour. Then it was like work, and then there was nothing going on. Then I was Tom Cruise in Cocktail. I had my self-help books behind the bar, and I was working on that. Let's see. He's got pop for lungs. Yeah. Ava hype. I don't know about Ava. We'll see. Casey, best Shinji since me. Well, thank you. I think Casey's good. Good stuff. Go feel. Oh, sorry, Candy Cosplay. Feel better. If they don't want to talk boundaries, then there's a problem. Okay. So if they don't want to talk boundaries, well, then you can use a different word if you want. It's like, hey, if I do this, what do you say? It's kind of ask them. They have boundaries. Everybody has boundaries. So they're going to do whatever they do. And you've got to say, well, this is what I expect. This is what I will take. You're going to have those conversations, guys. That's just how it is. So, well, I got started a little bit late on the Twitch stream here because we had a lot of technical issues. Seems to be looking good now. I'm learning more and more every day. If anybody else, anybody out here is really, really good with Twitch stuff, I'm happy to talk to you. You can hit me up on email at info@spikespencer.com if you can help me, because I've got one guy who is my Sherpa, who's a good friend, and he can do a lot, and he's got a lot of followers, and he's doing really great. But some of the technical stuff, I'm still like, I don't get it, man. So if anybody can help me, great. So last chance here. It is 10:01. I'm gonna zonk out of here in just a minute. So if anybody has one last question, I will hit it. And if not, I will be back on Thursday, 9 a.m. Every Tuesday, Thursday, 9 a.m. That is what I have committed to. And Sunday nights, 7 to 8. And I'm looking to possibly do more than that. It will not be announced, but I will go live on Twitch and just go, hey, by the way, I'm cooking this thing I wanted to share with you guys, and we'll just talk for a few minutes, and then I'll go off. So maybe like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, I'll go, oh, hey, here's a cool cooking tip or whatever. But I have to have it set up in the kitchen so that it's very, very easy to do. Book recommendations. Gosh, I don't know what all I've recommended to you. I'm working on, still, I'm reading and rereading The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. And like I said, it's public domain, so you can get it for free online. Beware, some of the translations are a little off. It's like somebody in the Philippines did it, and it's like, that doesn't make any sense. But that's been a really, really good book. The podcast that I recommend, besides my own, of course, but since my podcast isn't out yet, is Jim Fortin, Fortin. You want to go deep? He is one of the deepest mind guys out there, and I'm still studying and learning because I have my own learning curve. I have my own issues that I'm dealing with every day. So I'm in this with you guys. I'm in the soup. It's, do I have everything I want? Look at my booth. This is, it works. It's great, but it's like, hey, I just threw this thing together because we moved and we threw it in here, and there we go. Thank you, Captain Nim. I appreciate that. Tell all your friends. This is what it's all about, guys. I really need this to be organic. I want you guys to tell people about my Twitch stream. And guys on Unlocked, please go to my Twitch stream, because I can't always have you guys on here. So I don't know, because Twitch is going to be my main thing. Then it's going to go to YouTube, and then I'm going to pull from YouTube the audio and things like that. I don't have a whole setup yet, but I know where it's going. And I'm working on my studio out in the back. Nothing crazy, but it's just technically it's going to be better than being in here. And I think that's going to be important. So at least it'll look the same all the time, and it won't look like I'm in here in a freaking, in a sound cave. Oh, excellent. Thanks, Jimmy. Talking about my food game audiobook. He's been listening to that. Good. A lot of good stuff in there, and it is exactly what I did. And I talk about it in there. It's like I dated a lot of amazing women. And I don't think I said it. It's funny. I thought about this. I was like, wait a minute. Because I think I mentioned in the book I dated a Playboy Playmate and a Jedi. And I also, it was funny. I was like going, oh, wait a minute. I also dated a Terminator. Not saying I dated them in a long time. I mean, it's just I know them. They're all friends with me still. A lot of the people that I dated are still friends on Facebook. So obviously, I'm doing something right. Because it's not that thing where it's like, oh, we dated and I just didn't work out. Not like that. Some of them it was like that. I was like going, yeah, I was an asshole, or yeah, she crazy. Anyway, all right, guys, I'm going to let you all go. Have a wonderful, amazing, and fantastic day. Go do something awesome, and I will see you guys on Thursday. All right, adios, muchachos.